That stinks.
So much for the
intro didn't play. That's all right. We don't need. Who needs an intro?
Who needs an intro? It just takes up more time.
Yeah, it just went poof.
Yeah. No one ever said we were professionals, so
Hey,
we're back.
Yes.
With episode number
269.
Yes, sir. 269.
That's getting pretty close to 300.
We're getting there. Yes, we are.
Yep.
We were supposed to have a guest today. So was this
Stone Trip?
What's the name of the band? Thank you. I kept thinking Soul Sign. I knew that wasn't right. Stone Trip. But for whatever reason, they're from Australia, so the time difference it makes it difficult. However, what they're going to probably do is we have a week coming up in June or July. I think it's like towards the end of June, where a couple of us are going to be out of town again. So we're going to film an interview with them, and on the day we can't be live, we'll put that interview up instead.
Well, it's got to be 18-hour difference, so I mean time difference from here.
Yeah, it's a huge.
Here, from where I'm at, it's like 18 hours.
Yeah, that's a big time difference. So, but anyhow, so we decided let's just do a topic. We could have brought somebody else on, but we just want to. I mean, last week we did. John was showing and talking about his going ons with Pentagram.
And I'm still recovering. It's man, it's such a grind, and even for 2 weeks.
Even getting up there in age too, it's got to be a little harder.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bobby's 72, or pushing 72, and yet he's still able to do it. Now he may have his own enhancements. I don't know what his secret is, but maybe just good genetics. I don't know, but they're over in Europe right now. They're doing the Scandinavian countries and the UK, and they're just absolutely killing it. I've seen the video, and man, it looks great, and they sound great, and it wasn't like they were not practiced up, because 15 shows in 15 days is that'll make you pretty tight.
Yep. Yeah, but you had mentioned that you had picked up a few albums while you're out on the road with them, and we didn't really have time to do any of that stuff last week. So this week we're just going to kind of show new stuff. But before we do that, does anybody have any shout outs they want
to? I'm going to shout out my wife. She's tomorrow will be our anniversary or whatever. When we kind of knew it was more than just going to lunch and just having a handshake. So June 4th has kind of a significant is kind of significant to us. So shout out to her. I know she's still at work, but she still tunes in, and make sure that we get our numbers up there, because she's a good wife. She's the queen of the crypt, and I love her. And so shout out to her.
Right on. Kev?
Awesome. No, I don't really have. I've been kind of absent, but I don't really have a whole lot, except for the damn wildfires up in Canada, which are absolutely horrible. All that smoke here, but it's other than that, been good. Been kind of slow on the buying front, but that's understandable when you're tired. But
I know that. I feel that pain, Kevin, because I everywhere, every town that we went, and Tony and Scooter are prolific collectors too, especially Tony, and every town there were great new places to buy records. In fact, Steve can vouch for us. We went to 3 or 4, and then he went to one after he dropped us off. But I mean, I could have spent thousands, but you just the thing that I noticed that's interesting though is that you see things that you don't normally, when you go to a different region. It's very strange, because you see things that you don't normally see. And like in Texas, I scout all the record stores here, even San Antonio, Houston, whatever, and you kind of see the same things. But then you go to Missouri or you go to Flint, Michigan, and you see stuff that you never seen before. In fact, Tony was talking about a band called Rare Bird, and he said if I could just find the second album, I would be, it'd complete my collection. And lo and behold, we go to a record store, and I want to say it might have been the one Steve took us to first. There it was, the second Rare Bird, and so he was able to complete his collection. So I don't know, but I feel your pain about not spending money. I mean, I picked up a few things, and some of them were gifts from other bands. So I can't really say that I spent a ton of money because I didn't have the ton of money.
You know, I'm still waiting on pre-orders that I ordered a while back that haven't come, but some of them are actually finally shipping out. So, but
like Accuser,
like the Accuser,
I canceled everything on that. It's not coming.
Well, I don't know.
Did they give you your money back?
I got it back.
Yeah, I don't know. The same.
I was going to say, I don't know what's going on with the United States Postal Service, but what I tried to do when I was on the road is I'd send a postcard from every stop. And I just, so I've been home a week and I just got the last 2 postcards and a little flat that has, I can't even remember what it has in it, since it was like stop number 8 or 9 out of 15. So I don't know. It's very strange. The stuff that I mailed in Nashville got here almost in 2 days. I mailed it on a Saturday that was here on Tuesday. And
nice.
the stuff that I mailed in Springfield, Missouri, like the first couple days out, didn't get here till yesterday. It was very strange. But
very strange. Well, I'm gonna shout out the boys because I just got this in the mail just now.
Oh yeah, it's killer.
Herrickson. And there's also I didn't even look at it yet because we basically had to start. There's also a shirt in here which I haven't even opened yet. So let's open it and see what it looks like.
Let's check it out.
But if you guys don't know who Herrickson is, they're a new band, sort of. They are Steve and Lance Harrison and the drummer whose name I'm forgetting, all of whom were in Hyrax at the same time and recorded on the last few albums, not the newest one. But they parted ways. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, that's cool.
But they have a new album coming out very soon. I believe they just released their first single. So if you guys go into Facebook or Instagram or whatever, their first single is just being released. And I actually got to see the video and hear the first song. And if you like Hyrax, you're going to dig Herrickson. I mean, it basically is Hyrax minus Caton. So it's good stuff. Those guys had nothing negative to say about, people think, he has all these members coming in and out. They were with the band for, I think, 12 years. So they were with them for quite a while.
Yeah.
And they had nothing negative to say about Caton whatsoever, those guys, when I was on the phone with them. And they were just saying how much they appreciated, it's like people wouldn't even know who we were if it wasn't for Caton. So, we love the guy. So it was nice to hear, some guys giving appreciation instead of being upset. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing their new album. So that's coming out this year. I don't know when, but I don't do digital downloads, so I'm looking forward to the CD coming out.
Hey, there's a question from one of our listeners that says, "Do you guys know any distros selling records by the band Trader?" Soul Food in Europe. It depends on where you are. If you're in Europe, Soul Food. I know that the Century Media Store or the Nuclear Blast Store probably does, and then there's Tony at Empire Records. He distros tons and tons of European thrash, so that would be where I would start. What's that?
Check with Shadow Kingdom, maybe they might have it.
Yeah, it depends on if you're in the States or if you're overseas or if you're in, the Far East. I don't know.
In North Cal.
We're from the U.S., so
man, I would try Century Media. Or what's that other one on the West Coast or on the East Coast? I mean, New York City. Doggone it, can't remember. But I'd try that.
I'm looking it up too on one other place. I think it might. We'll see. But anyhow, while I'm looking it up, why don't you do your? Wait.
Oh yeah, one of these days we'll get that done. But all right, so. This is kind of like a double dip. I'm just going to do one because I sort of had an epiphany while I was out on the road. Everyone thinks Pentagram's heavy metal and Pentagram is, this, that, and the other. They're not. They're a hard rock band, actually really blues based, but they're heavy and I guess it's like I just did that episode of the Carcass John's Alter Ego. what my parents thought was heavy metal, and I included Ted Nugent and Deep Purple and Uriah Heep and so Foghat or whatever. So this is one of those things because I've been hearkening back to my 80s, 90s roots. But so this is my double dip. It's my rock album and it's my metal album. Pick of the week. Dokken, Tooth and Nail. I don't know what this has to it, but it does something to me, and it's heavy, fast. George Lynch, of course, was coming into his own, and despite their patent leather outfits and their little neckerchiefs tied to their ankle, this thing really, really just destroys. It's really, really great. So highly recommend this one, Dokken, Tooth and Nail. And that's my rock and my metal pick for the week.
Well, it's kind of ironic you showed that, because out in my living room where I play a lot of my music because it sounds the best out there, that's my next album in my playlist. So I mean, that was kind of cool that you showed that.
Well, even the slow song When Heaven Comes Down, I mean, is heavy. I mean, you can't go wrong. Without Warning, Tooth and Nail, Just Got Lucky. Turn on the Action. It's a great record. You can't go wrong with it. So highly recommended. I had Motley Crue, Too Fast for Love too. I just picked up a copy of the remastered version of that for that they were selling here recently, and man, it does sound great. So, but I went with Dokken just because it's a little more, I don't know, a little more metal. Rocking with Dokken. Yeah, we were.
Where's our resident Dokken fan at?
Yeah,
MIA.
He's MIA again, and and this is actually when Don still could sing. And bless his heart, he's still trying, but
Yep. I saw him. I've seen Dokken 4 times. And 3 of the 4 times they were horrendous. The one time I did see him, they were opening up for White Snake, and there was a Scorpions, White Snake, and Dokken, and Don was just nailing it that night. He sounded great. But the other times I saw him, I swear someone stapled his feet to the stage because he didn't move, and his singing was horrible. But the backup vocals were good.
Yeah, I saw them. Remember when they did that video where they're driving around in the Hollywood in a flatbed semi, and they're all rocking out on the back of the flatbed? I actually saw them doing that thing, and then they played at Gazzari's or the Whiskey or someplace in Hollywood that night, and it was great. I mean, they were in their time, they were pretty unbeatable.
Yep,
but that's just my opinion.
Right on. Well, let's get into it then. We're gonna basically show new stuff we picked up. I mean, just stuff we haven't shown before on video, I guess. But we'll just go around in a circle like we normally do. And Kevin, you want to go first?
Yeah, I can start her off.
Do you guys like the layout like this, or do you prefer this one?
No, I don't mind
this one.
Yeah, that's okay. A good one.
Yeah,
cool.
Anyway, I don't think I've showed these. Maybe I've mentioned them, but I got some 7-inch that I've been picking up. And these probably are a little bit older as far as recently picked up, but I don't know. I can't give enough praise to these guys here, the Voids. These Voids.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these are the 7-inch, and they're the two different colors, but this is the Return of the Phantom. They're both Return of the Phantoms, of course. I believe some of this is on their first album that they just released through Shadow Kingdom. And then these Cobra Spells or Cobra Force on 7-inch came out. When you order these, they're 2 different colors, and you also get a patch with it, which is kind of cool.
Is that like an Obi strip on there?
Yeah, yes. They're Obi. Shadow Kingdom does that with quite a few of their releases.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a nice packaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, they're all gatefolds and heavyweight vinyl, and that Void's really good.
Oh, listening to that and that new Misfire, it's really hard to pick between the two. They're that good, in my opinion. I mean, they're just phenomenal. But yeah, if you're collecting 7-inch, definitely check them out. I do believe they are still available.
Well, I'm gonna divide mine up on stuff I picked up in the on the 2-week tour, and then stuff that I just sort of has straggled in. But the great benefit about going out with a band is that you get to see 2 or 3 other bands in every city, and so that was no different. But these are kind of unique. When we were in Flint, we saw a band called Room 101. And I had to buy all their CDs. They're if you like Forebode, if you like that sludgy, terrifyingly heavy like Oryx, Forebode, Room 101 is your jam. And I've actually been playing a couple of tracks on the Crypt. Here's another cool kind of thing. And Scott, you're going to hear from this guy. This is a guy named Jesse. He goes by Black Bart, according to his bio. But this is a band called Penetration from Syracuse. He was a nice enough guy and asked me if I would help him spread the word. This was it's black thrash metal, and this was recorded and mastered by King Diamond guitarist Andy LaRock. So it sounds phenomenal. It's 4 tracks of just ripping thrash. I mean, it's aggressive, it's angry, it's what you would expect. And anyway, so he's wanting to put out his old back catalog and get the band started again. And he was very nice, and he gave me a couple of these, which I'm going to send out to my friends. And then, of course, I've talked enough about these guys, but I can't really talk enough about them. That is Necrotic Altar. There we go. This is their only demo, but they're looking to record some new records. But Zane and the boys were in rare form in Springfield, Missouri, a super, super nice town. But look out for them and you get on their Bandcamp, and then they've got other tracks. But man, Necrotic Altar just freaking destroys. So those are just some of the CDs I picked up. But check these out too. This is a project by Bobby Liebling called Crossroads. It's like, let's see, Ken Giles on guitar, Robin Webb on the other guitar, Mark Dietz on bass, and John Cook on drums. It's just kind of it's a side project, but stuff that never got released. And his handler, Dan Roselle, is the one that put it out, and on his own little label, and he did a nice OB and everything. But Bobby does a killer rendition of Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers by ZZ Top. So look for that. And then are you familiar with? You're familiar with Hawkwind, of course you are, because I talk about Osric Tentacles all the time, and they get compared to Hawkwind, erroneously so. But this is Alan Davey, formerly of Hawkwind. And he just keeps cranking out records. And once again, Dan Roselle keeps putting them out. And so he's done several releases. This is the one this was his most recent release, of which he had a copy of, called Electrum. And it's great. If you like ambient instrumental with a little vocal here and there, a la some of the early Hawkwind stuff, then you'll love Alan Davey. This is really great stuff. So those are a
lot of his stuff out there.
Yeah, and they're all good. You almost can't go wrong. So, but yeah, pick them up while you get. And I might as well get these out of the way, since I only have 2 other CDs or 3 other CDs. I picked up the recent Insanity Alert. I know Kevin, you like those guys. But this has got Welcome to the Mosh Pit, Beer in the Park, which is a parody of Fear in the Dark by Iron Maiden. Beerless Fiesta, Moshemian Thrashedy. They just do parody tunes, basically. Kind of funny stuff. And then look at this little gem, Ranger, and they're singing in Swedish. And I can't even pronounce the Risen from the Ruins is the translation. I went and looked at the translation, but anyway, yeah, found that in Atlanta, I think. But couldn't pass it up. I love Ranger.
And then thrash metal Ranger?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they rip. But anyway, so those are the CDs I picked up, and then I'll get to the cassettes and the vinyl. But go ahead, Scott.
I got a few. I got 3 CDs. I'll show. I also have 1 cassette and some vinyl, but I'll do the CDs real quick too. I've been showing this one quite a bit, but this is Mutant Blast. Name of the album is Soul Stealer. Finnish thrash metal. Fantastic stuff. I mean, I've had this thing for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I probably played it 5 or 6 times already. Every time I go to my car, I grab it and I keep playing it over and over again because I just enjoy it that much. Yeah, it's just old school thrash metal. Pushes a bit towards power thrash at times, or power metal at times, but mostly it stays in the in that thrash metal. There's just a couple songs where the guy actually sings and it's more of a power thrash sound, but otherwise it's just straight up thrash metal. It's odd though because you look them up online and it calls them death and roll, but there ain't nothing death and roll about this. It's just great thrash metal.
It looks like I'm being corrected by the poser king in Houston, Fraser Dawson. He says that he thinks that Ranger's from Finland. Okay, they're Scandinavian.
Yeah, that's where Finland is where that the band I just showed. I believe this one's from Finland too. And I haven't even heard this one. It just came. This is a CD demo from a band also from Finland, Chaos Creation. Final Warning. So I'm looking forward to checking that one out. But yeah, it's just a, and it's got a little letter in there from the guy. But yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out. So you don't see very many demos anymore coming from bands,
No, man, and that's what I love about traveling around is that you find stuff that you'll never find. Just even if you're cruising the internet, you won't usually find stuff like that. But
yeah,
anyway,
kind of one in a rare item stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. And then this one's available on vinyl. I bought the CD. It was actually a recommendation that I got from another vinyl community channel. But this is Heat in the Street tour 1978 Pat Travers Band. This is This is as good as the live album, and it's from the same tour, and it's got some songs that weren't on the live album, and it's got a few different songs as well that they swapped out a few songs.
81 release concert.
This is 78.
78. Okay, I think there's one after that too. That's where it's an 80 or an 81. I think that just came out as well.
Yeah, matter of fact,
since you said it, when I was out and about, I found a good play. I mean, this thing looks like the turntable. The needles never touched it, and mine is a little beat up. So for $6 had to buy it. Crash and Burn.
Yeah, that's a fantastic album. This is probably the one you're talking about, Live at Reading 1980.
I think so. Yeah, I think that was the one.
And then there was this one here too that they both came out at the same time. Snorting Whiskey at the Warfield, official bootleg.
I think it was that one there.
I'm a huge fan of Pat Travers. I mean, one of my first concerts was seeing him open up for Aerosmith. So
yeah, I got a lot.
This is one of my favorites now. This is fantastic. I mean, if you're a Pat Travers fan and you like live, it's as good as live, and it's got a few extra songs. It's got Evie instead of Stevie on there. It's got Hooked on Music, Rock and Roll Susie. So yeah, this is really good. So I'm gonna probably try and pick up. I think it's Purple Pyramid Records, so it's fairly easy to find Amazon and stuff like that.
That's a good label too, by the way. They've got a lot of psych rock, space rock. Check them out.
Yeah, well, it's like Purple Pyramid, Cleopatra Records, and there's one other label I'm trying to think of. They kind of cater to that same style, like Cleopatra did a lot of the UFO live albums and reissued some of them.
Which is weird because they're kind of they're usually known for their techno and industrial type stuff.
We got Shannon Fry checking in, and we all know who Shannon Fry is, right?
Yes, we do.
Avenger of Blood. This is a new album.
Dude, that thing that's top of the list for 2025. So,
I just showed it in a video on the Light Metal channel this past Sunday. I did a video of all new thrash releases, and that's one of the ones I showed. Yep, great stuff, Shannon. Okay, so where are we? Kevin, you're up.
All right, I should have showed this on the earlier part, but just a few CDs and a cassette. Of course, I had to get the Void cassette. I mean, I've been pushing these guys and praising them. Had to get them all. I probably will never open it, but
matter of fact, right behind you is the record, right? I see it right behind to your over here. Yeah, there it is.
That way. Anyway, yeah, that's the orange one there. Anyway, Myth Carver. This is kind of a new wave of traditional heavy metal. This is kind of an EP, 4 tracks. Just came out here maybe a couple weeks ago. Not too bad. And then these two are kind of, I'm going to put together here. This is the brand new Rectify, which is hybridized. I was just listening to this right before we got on live here. Fantastic. It has one of the former members that used to play in Annihilator. I'm trying to think of his name. His name was Matt Hanchuk. And it also features Chris Poland on a couple of tracks on this. And the other side project is Gutter Creek, also from Hanchuk. Thrashy as well. Killer stuff. And then before the vinyl came out, I had gotten the CD of this kind of, they're a thrash band, but I call them more blackened in nature, but just by the vocals. Buried Faith. These guys are out of Pocatello, Idaho, and these guys have actually they
can you say that 3 times fast?
Pocatello, Idaho.
But anyway,
I think I say it 1 time slow.
These were active in 1988 in Germany, is where the band actually came from. They didn't really do a lot as far as releasing any music, maybe a demo here, maybe a single here and there, but they moved the band to the US, and this is actually their first release, which is kind of it's
wow,
brand new release. It's killer. But anyway, that's about all I have for the CDs and cassettes.
Right on.
Okay, well, so here's some of the stuff I picked up when I was out on the road from, well, I'm just going to say the ones that I picked up on the road. So, wouldn't be a show if we didn't mention Hans Condor. Once again, if the Dead Kennedys and Anvil join forces, it's just dirty, gnarly punk. This is their second one, Big Breakfast. Charles hooked me up with both the shirt and the vinyl, and it's an acquired taste, and it's really and it's punk. And these guys are wild live. You need to actually go and see them to appreciate them, and they were just outstanding, and it really bailed me out of a tight jam. Here's another band that we saw in Nashville, and it's a band called Thetan. No, it's not Satan with a lisp. It's Thetan. I guess it's a Soul Searcher or something. I don't know. But this is called Grand Old Agony. Once again, kind of playing off the old Nashville thing. But it's dissonant and grungy, grindy. I don't know how to describe it, but they're dark and dissonant. But then check this out. They do a basically a 70s porn soundtrack hip hop record with Kool Keith. So I don't know how to describe it other than you just have to see him to believe him. But Thetan, really, really cool guys, and they're a 2-piece. And then here's some other stuff as Steve-O took us around to some of the shops. Here's some of the stuff that I picked up. About Foreseen. I know Kevin probably does. Once again, they're Finnish. Helsinki HK1 was the first album. This is Untamed Force from 2022. Just kind of a repeat of the first 2 albums. Just grinding. If you like Power Trip, they're kind of like the Finnish version of Power Trip. Here was a real surprise. I found this because it was Sewer Fiend, but this was let's see, what is this? Plague? Gosh, I can't remember. But anyway, it's a split, and I bought it for the Sewer Fiend thing, and it turns out I like the other band better. But anyway, once again, just at a tiny little shop. She'd been open about a year. I found the other half of the Ulthar series. This was released in cotangent with another album that comes with a slipcase if you write the record label. So that's Ulthar. And then here's one that had been out for a while, had sold out. This is Conjureth from San Diego. Now, why am I finding albums from San Diego in Atlanta? Don't ask me why. I can't find them here in Texas, but here it is. Majestic Dissolve. This is their previous to the new record, and then and that's all I'll show. And then I'll show you some stuff I picked up just for play's sake as we go around, so I don't hog up all the time. But once again, that whole thing about regionality, I mean,
well, I agree.
I've been looking for this thing since it came out in 2022 or 2021, and they said no, we did a short run. They did 500 and they sold out. And then here it was sitting in a record shop and this gal had only been open about 6 months, and it was right across the street from the Club 529 there in East Atlanta. And $15, and the thing doesn't have a scratch. I mean, it's perfect. But anyway.
Well, I'm a firm believer in the regionality thing. Absolutely. I mean, even in the 70s, we didn't have no internet, no nothing. It was radio or magazines. In certain parts of the country, a lot of music didn't get farther than 5, 6, 7 states unless you were signed to probably a big label. I mean, that's the way it was up here anyway. So many bands that if you go to the South, you'd never even see a vinyl or a CD or a cassette by them.
Yeah.
The regionality is a damn. It's
fun time. I'm glad. And I would advise, if you can travel, always stop in at find the records, the record store nearest your destination, your hotel, your place where you're going to stop. Because I mean, you just never know what you're going to find, especially if you're a collector. And I guess that was the one thing. I was just as a side note. I remember going to see Amoeba Records for the first time in Hollywood, and I was really disappointed because it was just like new stuff that anywhere you could get off the internet anywhere. There was no regionality to it. There weren't demos from old 80s thrash bands.
They used to be. I've been there many, 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 many times to the Amoeba in Hollywood, and it used to be fantastic where you could find great used stuff. You could find local stuff. They would take stuff from bands on consignment, local bands, stuff like that. But it's become such a tourist attraction there now. It's right in that touristy part of of Hollywood that there's the best thing I found there was if you dig through their 7 inches, they have tons and tons and tons of 7 inches, and nobody digs through those. So
right.
Last time I was there, me and my buddy Bill spent like 2 hours just digging through, and I found tons of killer stuff.
Well, there are still places out there like Bionic Records that is one of those old school, bands come in and they drop a few of their, tapes off or whatever, or their 7-inch singles, and you can still find it there. But, that was the unique thing about when we were out on the road is we all, the three of us, Tony, Scooter, and myself, we would kind of look at the lay of the land on when we Google record stores near us, and we'd vote because we could tell which ones had the vibe and which ones were very corporate. So, but we got lucky, man. We all found stuff that we didn't expect to find.
Nice. Yeah, that was fun. I only have one cassette to show that I've picked up. I haven't even opened it yet. I'm still debating. I'm probably going to open it because there's no other way to hear it. But this is Mystic Force, Take Command. This is their 1989 album. I love this band. Most of their stuff has been released on CD over the years, but I don't think this one's ever been released on CD. So it'll be the first time hearing it. Do you guys know this band at all?
I've heard of them, but I don't know anything about them.
Same here. I don't have anything from them though.
This is their EP from. The thing is, I mean, it's old school. I mean, this sounds like 83, 84, but this is like 89, and this EP I think is from 1990, and they're still around. Well, they actually had a death in the band, so they're not really still around. But I mean, they're still around as far as you can get a hold of them, and they still are supporting the band. Because I actually bought this and this directly from one of the band members. So, matter of fact,
this is my CDs and see.
This copy right here is actually Kevin's. So I just have it sitting over here because I'm sending in a package soon, and it's sitting right there. But yeah, this cassette was the last one they had. I tried to get 2, but that was the last one he had. So Take Command from 1989, straightforward, old school heavy metal, great stuff.
Awesome.
You're up, Kevin.
I'm going to show you 3 vinyl here. I got these actually yesterday, and finally got to hear them all. 2 yesterday, 1 today. One I heard today was a brand new release from Ben Ader. They're Austria, new wave, traditional
Yep.
heavy metal band. This is their second release called Psychodrome. It's not a bad. I heard it once, so I really can't make a solid judgment on it yet compared to the first one. But first spin, it sounded really good. And then I picked up Annihilator.
Oh, the Annihilator from San Antonio or from Corpus, whatever.
Death is Calling. I actually got this on sale over Memorial Day, and I've seen their material, but I really never had gotten to getting any. I know they've been around for quite a while. They did a bunch of demos in the 80s, a couple of EPs, but this is their first full length they put out last year on Extreme Music label.
Yep.
They're a nice 3-piece, right?
Yeah. Alex Dominguez is the original bass player for Devastation.
Okay.
That's
the
connection. And I've known Alex for 30 years, since 84.
But yeah, that sounded really good. And then I had showed the CD of that Buried Faith. This also came yesterday too. The Buried Faith, Blackened Skies, Open Graves.
From Pocatello, Idaho.
Pocatello, Idaho. There's only 100 of these out there. This is not on a label. This is put out independently by the band. So I pre-ordered this probably a month ago. So just go over to their Bandcamp and you might be able to pick one up. But this, like I say, it's thrash metal with blackened vocals. I mean, it's killer.
Love it.
That's the 3.
Yes, that is. Someone asked, "Is that a Motorhead shirt?" Yes, he's wearing a Motorhead shirt. I have that same shirt.
Yeah. Okay. The 30th anniversary shirt. Okay. Well, here's a couple cassettes I found along the way. One of which it was waiting for me when I got home. But this is another band I saw, Mountain of Woe. This was in Syracuse. Yes, Syracuse. Very DIY. It's hand lettered, hand printed, whatever. Once again, it's sort of like a it's Blood Incantation without the gurgling and the gargling. It's more ambient than that, but heavy dissonant guitar, kind of a crushing. I don't even. It sounds like a soundtrack of a really scary movie. But Mountain of Woe, one of my favorite live bands that I saw along the way. Here's one, Stuffed Spider. We were in a record store in Nashville, I believe, and I found this and just randomly grabbed it and bought it. It was in the $2 bin. I thought that's a kind of an interesting name, Stuffed Spider, and so I Googled it, or I YouTubed it, and this is Secret Speech. They have some other releases out, but this is very cool too. Kind of post-punk 70s kind of sound. This is my buddy Max Mort White. He's from here in Denton, Texas. He does something called Dungeon Synth. If you know what that is, it's kind of like soundtrack once again to a very scary movie. I wore a shirt this weekend to the Odds and Oddities things here in Dallas, and some vendor from Florida ran over and said, "Is that a Mort White shirt?" I said, "It sure is," and they knew who he was. So I'm not the only guy, but very, very cool stuff. And he puts out a tape about every 6 months. And then this was waiting for me when I got home. This is my buddy Steve Roach. He does ambient soundscape stuff. This is his most recent release. He was kind enough to sign it for me on the inside, but very chill, very laid back. And after the chaos that ensued for the last 2 weeks, this was a welcome relief to just sit with the headphones on and enjoy it. But anyway, those are the cassettes we're waiting. And then I've got a few vinyl, but we can keep going around the horn since we're still
right on
time.
We just got joined by Blackmore Rules, who is a huge fan of obviously Richie Blackmore. So I just pulled this one from the pile. I haven't even popped the plastic on this one. It just came in the mail. We wanted to get it for a while, but it was kind of expensive, and the prices dropped finally. So, but this is one of my all-time favorite albums. Of course, Deep Purple, Machine Head, but this is the 2024 remix version from the original master tapes, where they found stuff that wasn't used in the original. So it's basically like an alternate version. So I'm all over this. Can't wait to hear it. There's just something about these.
Do they have When a Blind Man Cries on there?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't even opened it yet.
Because that was a B-side of.
Yep. It says features Smoke in the Water, Highway Star, Space in the Water, plus the B-side When a Blind Man Cries, and lyric poster. Like I said, I haven't even. It's plastic still. I just got it. I haven't even played it yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. It's there's something about these albums that you like, you love, and you've heard a million times, and you know them inside and out, and you can sing them in your sleep. That when they release these ones that are like different, like the Thin Lizzy, I was just going to show it, but I didn't find it real quick. I don't know. I enjoy that kind of stuff. Or like when they did the Kiss Destroyer album. Yeah, they did Destroyer, and they found all that, and they found the Ace solo that was taken off the album and put it back, and I just thought that was really cool. So I mean,
well, the label originally said that When a Blind Man Cries was too mellow for that record, and they took it off and they just made it a B-side. So it's good that it's back where it should be, because that's a great song.
So I'm looking forward to hearing it. But anyhow, I was going to show the Thin Lizzy too, but here it is. The Jailbreak alternative versions.
Yeah.
I just love stuff like this. I mean, I've heard Jailbreak 1,000 times, I'm sure, in my life, if not more. But hearing these alternative versions, and it's not like it's like someone going back and re-recording it, or just it's actual stuff they recorded. It's just stuff that wasn't used that was on the tapes. So anyhow,
I have that as well.
This is, I think I've showed this one before, but since I was showing the purple, I grabbed that one. But I'll show a couple more real quick. I finally got a copy of the Pentagram. I'd like to get the other version of it, the blue version with that's like the deluxe version. But
I'm looking for anyhow, when the price drops a little bit, hopefully.
Yeah, they're not exactly cheap.
They're up there.
I also picked up the Wood Witch, which I believe it was somebody on this show that recommended it, and I picked it up, and this thing's fantastic.
That was a Steve-O thing.
It might have been Steve-O, but yeah, somebody recommended it, and I was like, oh, I'll check it out. And it's really, really good. Not that far off from what you would expect from Pentagram, that kind of just dark, slow, doomy, Sabbath-inspired hard rock metal stuff. So
I thought it was funny. Bobby did an interview with a gal in San Antonio, and she kept saying doom, doom, doom. And he finally stopped her and he said, we don't sing doom metal. Doom is boring. I don't listen to doom. We're a rock band. And I just thought, okay, the record has been straightened. And he's right. They're not, I mean, they have some doom elements, but they're a rock band. But anyway, I digress.
Yep. I'll show a couple more real quick. These two are really exciting because first of all, I was just in a Humble Pie mood for recently. Been listening to a lot of Humble Pie, but I finally scored a near mint original pressing of As Safe as Yesterday, which of course is early, 69, 70, something in that area, with Steve Marriott and Peter Frampton on guitar. And then this one I picked up over at Rockadrome, and this is fantastic. I mean, if you like Humble Pie, go to Rockadrome and grab this one before they're gone. But this is a live album. It's very great sound quality. Live at the Whiskey a Go-Go, December 1969.
Well, that's why it sounds good.
You can see a young Peter Frampton right there.
That, sure. Once he shows those, they don't last very long.
No, they don't. So, but yeah, I was stoked to get that. Unfortunately, there was a Thin Lizzy one he had there too, and I went to grab it, and by the time I got it to my cart, it was gone. So, kind of bummed about that. But I did put it. So the one thing about Rockadrome is you can put in that, hey, if you get more copies in, then they tend to get more copies in. They send you an email. And I've had that. Yeah, I've had that a few times where I've gotten an email and it went right away and gotten to something I missed. So, well, in any case, yeah, go ahead, Kev.
Well, this is a Rockadrome spine right here. I got this 2 weeks ago. This the Tormentor.
Oh yeah, that's
End of the World, the pre-creator.
Pre-creator.
Initially, they only were put out in the box set if you bought that vinyl box set. And then I think High Roller realized that they could probably make a little more money, and they released them as a standalone, away from the box set. But these sound really good. My VA. Anyway, but yeah, so I picked this up here. It's only got 4 tracks, but this sounds really good. Very raw. Of course, I can't quit playing this new Misfire either. This product of the environment. I mean, it's just this and the Void are right up there. And then I kind of been looking for this. This is actually another rock and roll find, but this is going back into the early 70s with a band called Zyore. These guys are kind of they're kind of like Hawkwindish, Led Zeppelin vocals, Pink Floydish at times, but
that was a John Perez. That was a John Perez special. He really digs those guys.
What's that?
And John Perez from Solitude Aeternus. Yeah. Every time I walk into Born Late Records, Henry Vasquez's shop, John is playing something wild and woolly, and he was playing that one day, and I thought, that's pretty cool, but find it. And I guess they reissued it.
Yeah, it was reissued, and so I went over there, and I had one left, and I just got lucky, I guess. But because it was posted on the Facebook, that's why I went over there right away. So again, you got to be quick.
Yeah, that stuff doesn't last long. He's not a museum; he's a retail outlet. But anyway, I don't know who the Cowboy is, but he's loving the Ulthar, and they are a killer band, by the way. But anyway, here's some other stuff that I picked up along the way on my mini wanderings for the last couple of weeks, and not to mention the Pat Travers, which I already mentioned. Scott, you'll be happy about this one. Nectar, Remember the Future. This thing is
an original pressing.
That's an original pressing, and it is near perfect, and it sounds unbelievable. Sounds so good.
It's a U.S. pressing, though, right?
Well, hang on here. Hang on. Hold the phone.
Because the European pressing and the U.S. pressing have different mixes.
Yeah, 1974, New York. Yeah.
Cool. So that's the U.S. mix. But oddly enough, I picked this up not too long ago. This is the it wasn't I think it was Record Store Day in the UK, not here, but it's the new remix 2025 remix version of this one. It's not just remastered; it's completely remixed from the original master tape. So I played it once already. Another one of those albums I've heard a million times, but it didn't like when I heard the Thin Lizzy or the Kiss one we talked about earlier. You immediately heard things that were different. You know what I mean? Like, well, that solo is different, or where'd that intro come from? This one I didn't hear that on, so I need to give it another spin. I've only heard it once, but I mean, it sounded really good cranking out on my bows, but I just didn't hear anything different. So it just maybe just a straight remix without any,
Yeah, I had a copy and it was just beat, and I just tried to find a nicer one, and this was once again $8. Here's another one. This kind of completed my collection. I love Billy Cobham. Played big, no triggers, 24-inch kicks.
Oh, nice.
This is my connection to jazz fusion. Guys like this, but this has got Michael Brecker, Randy Brecker on it, which are great players. John Abercrombie on guitar. This thing is just a scorcher, and it's one of the ones I don't have, and I do now. This is a band called Survive from Austin, and if you're familiar with the Netflix sensation Stranger Things, these are the guys that do the soundtrack. So the whole album is similar to that little blurb at the beginning of the show, which is cool. I think I showed this one to you already. I found this one at Steve's last stop, the Solace. This is on Meteor City. I never thought I'd ever see this. I have the CD, and then I have the box set from when these tracks came out. But this is like a double album of all their demos, and never thought I'd saw it, but it's an original pressing. Solace, Further, and Heavy Birth, Two Fisted, Hungry Mother, Rephrase, Hungry Mother, Angels Dreaming. I mean, this thing is a crusher. Here's another one. We've talked about these guys before. Straubs. This was in the dollar bin, and I really dig this one. Bursting at the Seams.
Yeah, that's a good album. I have that too. It's good prog rock. I mean, it's kind of prog light, but it's still really good.
No, and especially for a buck. I mean, here's another one. Once again, hearkening to my jazzy roots. Klaus Ogerman, but it features Jan Ackerman. If you know who that is, that's the guitarist from Focus. Hocus Pocus, whatever. And this thing is a ripper too. It's just straight up progressive jazz fusion. And then last but not least, I've been spinning the heck out of this thing. I don't know why. It just brings back, there's just something about it that's just so good. And
it's really killer heavy metal power pop mix.
I love the drumming on it. And I'm not a huge Tommy Lee fan. I don't think he's the greatest drummer ever, but there's something about his drumming on this that is exceptional. I mean, there's a hunger there that you can still feel. It's palpable by the whole band. But anyway, so I've been spinning this one and really digging it. And this is it was brand new, but it was in the like cutout bin. So it was like $14. But
and you guys listen to Cosmic Cathedral?
I've never heard of them.
Nope, new one to me, Dale.
But I'm gonna write it down.
Check it out.
Yep, writing down now.
Yeah, Damien said it was a good Motley album. I think it's their best album. I don't think they ever did better than that one, but that's just my opinion.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I think you're right.
They're kind of hit and miss for me. I probably with you guys, I love the earlier stuff the best anyway.
Yeah, and everybody hates Dr. Feelgood. Everybody hates Dr. Feelgood, but I think that was a return to their first album. I thought it was a pretty good record. I mean, even the groove, the driving groove that the song Dr. Feelgood has is great. I mean, but whatever. To each their own.
Well, I got a few more records I can show. We're almost out of time, but speaking of Pink Floyd, somebody mentioned them earlier. I picked this.
How is that?
It's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's really well recorded. From 1969, Between the Hopeful and the Damned, live at the old Refectory, 1969. Track listing: Astronomy Domain, Careful with That Axe, Eugene, Interstellar Overdrive, Green is the Collar, Beset by Creatures of the Deep, and A Saucer Full of Secrets.
Okay. What is the label?
The label is Dear Boss. And I pre-ordered this and another live album from around this time from Pink Floyd at the same time. I was surprised that this one came in the mail, the other one didn't. So I went back and checked, and they're like, the other one's shipping soon. I was like, oh, that's weird. Usually labels, when you order two things, they'll wait till they both come in to ship at the same time. But anyhow, I picked up that, which I believe is probably a bootleg. But like I said, it's a stellar sounding one. But this is fantastic.
Man, I love that. I watched the I have the old DVD. In fact, I have it on VHS too. But man, that's a good one too.
Yeah, it just brings back, when I listen to it, it brings back memories of going to the midnight movies and watching it in the movie theaters.
Right.
Back in the 80s, they would play it. They would play all kinds of stuff like that in midnight movies.
I'm saving my money or my trade bait because I want to get the one with the Blu-ray in it. I want to see the grandeur and the 5.1 mix or the 7.1 mix.
Also, I don't know if I showed this one or not here before, but this is a Japanese pressing of the I believe this is the first Flame album, Queens of the Neighborhood. Yeah, she's got a great voice. She kind of has that raspy, Janis Joplin, but she's a little more aggressive than Janis was. Right. But this is just great hard rock. Here's the back.
There was a lot of that going around. Yeah. Frumpy, Cold Blood, some of those. Man, all those gals could sing.
And this guy right here ended up in Aerosmith for 5 years. Jimmy Crespo, yep. So, which is how I discovered him, because I was such a big Aerosmith fan when I was a kid. Anything that was related, I was looking for it, and I picked that up as a kid in like a dollar bin, and it was just this beat up, crackly, crappy record. But I I've loved it ever since. But I found that Japanese pressing, and I've never even seen a Japanese pressing. So yeah, I was pretty excited to find that.
Those vocals also kind of remind me of Spectrum, or not Spectrum, but not. I just got a brain fart, but the band with Tommy Bolin in from Zephyr. I'm trying to think of Zephyr.
Oh yeah, Zephyr.
Yeah, there you go.
Guttural vocals, slow, that deep one. And then there was Yanida Hahn from Babe Ruth also was kind of style too.
They were a little more Babe Ruth is a little more popish. Oh, how is that?
The Mission X album. This is a classic one from, I don't know, gosh, should be 10 years old now. Finally available on vinyl. AFM Records reissued a bunch of the stuff, and you can get them fairly cheap right now, but if you wait too long, they're disappearing quick, and they're going to go up in price really fast. So I've been picking them up as I can find them for a decent price. But yeah, this is the Udo Mission X album, and I like this one a lot. I like most of the Udo albums, but this one in particular, Holy is probably one of my favorites, and I would rank this up in the top 5 with Holy. So
what's the one that's got the green and yellow cartoon character on the cover?
Rev Raptor.
Yep,
yeah,
Rev
I really like that one, but man, he's hit and miss for me. I just kind of waved him off. Someone had kind of tricked me into listening to it one day, and I'm like, hey, this sounds like Udo. This sounds really good. It was heavy. It was kind of it just had a different sound to it. It had a more thrashy sound to it, more like older Accept.
Well, he kind of goes off into the symphonic stuff too with a lot of his music and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not. The symphonic stuff is where I'm not as much into it. And that Mission X album is not. It's just straightforward, very much in this style of Accept. But I'll show a couple more real quick, and then I'll be done, and you guys can finish it off. But I picked up a classic, an original. It's just an old pressing of "Let It Bleed." It's
on London.
Yes, it's on London. It's just one that I have a bunch of Stones, and I've been listening to a lot of classic rock recently just because I wanted to. But Mott the Hoople and gosh, what else? Flames, just stuff like that. But I was listening to all these Stones records, and I was talking to a buddy of mine who he actually has a channel called The Metal Theologian, and he shows a lot of rare underground metal stuff. Great channel, by the way, if anybody hasn't checked out The Metal Theologian. But anyhow, I text with him once in a while, and we just started talking about the Stones, and I'm like, yeah, I like this album, like that album. He goes, my favorite's Let It Bleed. I'm like, I still don't have that one in my collection. He's like, how can you not have that? That's like supposed to be in every record collection. So I went ahead and I grabbed a copy.
Yeah, he shows some pretty obscure stuff too.
Very obscure, yeah.
So
a lot of underground
stuff. What is the hit song on Let It Bleed?
Oh, there's several.
Let It Bleed.
Midnight Ramblers on here. Gimme Shelter is on here.
Yep.
What else is on here? You can't always get what you want is on here. Yeah, there's quite a few.
Wow.
Hit and miss with the Stones as well too. Some of it is okay, some of it I don't care for.
Yeah,
the last Stones album though, that's really good. Their latest.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that.
I heard it was good. Uh-oh, somebody's dropping bombs on you, Scott. Do you have any Frank Zappa in your collection?
I sure do. Matter of fact, there it is. I do have Frank Zappa. Matter of fact, I just got a CD pressing of it's just right here. It is. And I had it on vinyl, but now I have a CD pressing that just somebody sent me. Here's a Overnight Sensation and Apostrophe.
Those are two good ones. Hot Rats is another great one. Shut Up.
But I should have also mentioned that that this Deep Purple record was actually remixed by Dweezil Zappa.
Dweezil, yeah.
So anyhow.
Pretty capable guy.
Yep. So anyhow, that's just some stuff that I picked up in last few months. But I just did a video on my channel where I threw a bunch of thrash stuff I picked up, so I didn't want to show it again since I just showed all that stuff. But anyhow, Kev, you got anything else you want to show? We're almost out.
Yeah, I got 3 more here. I'll be quick with them.
Go for it.
First one is here the latest Christian Mistress band out of Portland, Oregon.
I'm going to move you over. So
first album in 5 years, but very good. And then
yes,
Scott showed this here a while back, so I finally went over and I picked this Asta up.
it's such a great album, even though the packaging is a little weak, but the music is fantastic. And the cover is nice, but the packaging is just weak.
Doesn't fit in a regular 12-inch sealable, so I had to use an oversized pack. But yeah, this is really good. And then this.
Yeah, I think George Call is one of the. He's just a great powerhouse vocalist. I mean, it's fantastic. He just gets better and better with age.
And then I picked up the Anthony Gomes here, the latest one from them.
Yeah, I need to get that one. It's on my list.
Praise the Lord.
Have you heard Anthony Gomes, John?
No.
It's just old school hard rock. Pat Travers, Foghat.
Very similar.
Yeah, it kind of fits into that range of hard rock. That's his whole thing. I'm bringing back hard rock.
Well, except Pentagram's been doing it now for 50 years. They've been trying to bring it back.
Very different sound, though. Very different sound than Pentagram, but everybody's asking.
He was in Cloven Hoof. He was in Emerald.
He was on 2 albums for Cloven Hoof, at least 2 albums for Cloven Hoof. He had a disagreement with the band, and I can't remember what it was. Something was happening in Europe, and he couldn't do it. And anyhow, they parted ways.
Well, I'll be honest with you. He's improved Aska even more yet again, and no offense to Bryant Contreras, but Bryant is doing some other things now, and Eric Halpern is in that band. So, who's been with Hellstar and Destiny's End and Z-Lot Z, and man. They're a power. There's no weak links in Aska right now, and they played that little record store that you went to, that County Line Records, when they opened the new store. The new store, those guys just rocked it out, and people were just baffled. They thought, "Wow, we've never even heard of these guys," and they've been around since '90, or even before '90. So
that was kind of an algorithm kind of drove me to that album, and it was actually I got it for a fairly decent price too.
Before we go, you want me to break some news that nobody knows about, and I don't even know if I'm supposed to do it, but I'm going to do it anyhow.
Yeah,
I just got this test pressing in the mail. Who is it? For the first time ever on vinyl, "Appointment with Death" by Lizzie Borden.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it was mastered specifically for vinyl from the original.
Tapes,
original files, and it wasn't tapes because I guess if you call it, everything's recorded digitally now. So this is not an old album. So it's from the original music files, but it was remastered, by Rob Caldwell.
Yay!
And it's coming out. This is coming out on Brutal Planet Records, and it's going to have 3 different versions. There's going to be here's the deal. There's going to be a special version that's only available at Brutal Planet Records that comes with a Lizzie Borden death certificate in it, and it also has a special color that won't be available in any of the stores. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, hasn't gone on sale yet. I'll let y'all know when that goes on sale. So
right on.
All right.
So a singer now is in Satan's Host. Who is?
I don't know. I don't know that band.
I know Satan's Host, but I don't know the singer. But in any case, well, anyhow, that's it for this edition of the Metal Roundtable, episode number 269. And before we go, if you're looking for any of us outside of the Metal Roundtable videos, you can find Carcass at
Carcass John Art on Instagram, and at 128dbrock.com or 128db.com, and I do the Crypt. And I do the Carcass John's alter ego. So download the free app, and then you get access to all the shows that are on there, including Eddie Trunk and Metal Rob, Chaz, blah, blah, blah.
And you can find Kevin at
YouTube, Old Metal Rocker 66 now. So, and then over at Facebook, you can check out Metal Uprising and so forth. And a lot of good stuff over there.
Yep.
I want to thank all the new viewers coming on over to Metal Uprising.
There you go. 66. I fixed it.
Right on.
You can find me on Instagram at No Life Till Metal. You'll probably find me a lot easier on Facebook under Scott Waters, or at YouTube under Scott Waters or No Life Till Metal. I am on Instagram. I'm just not on it anywhere near as much as I am on Facebook. So, which because I'm old, apparently only old people watch it, but only old people do Facebook. The funny thing is I was working on an album cover for a band just recently, and it's got different pictures of different social media things on it because it's kind of anyhow, they're doing this concept album of communication and how it works now. But in any case, when I was looking up the logos, I found this thing of what social media outlets are most used and have the most users on them, and Facebook is still number one. So
he's got
I don't know,
35 million users or some ridiculous number.
So. And I still use MySpace personally, but no, I'm just kidding. I actually did a search and found my old MySpace page is still up there. So,
well,
so I was looking for an old picture and it was still on there.
I think Russia and some of the communist countries still use MySpace. Because I know that there's a band called Rehabilitator, and they still have a MySpace page, and they're Russian.
Nice. Cool. Well, anyhow, that's it for this episode. So we appreciate you all watching, and so you all know how we do it. At the very end here, I'm going to find so I don't make the same mistake I made last week where I put the intro instead of the outro.
Well, we didn't have it. We didn't even have an intro.
I don't know why I'll have to check it because the intro, I clicked on it, it just didn't work. So.
Ooh.
Yep. So it might have to just be re-uploaded or something. But in any case, so for episode number 269 of the Metal Roundtable, Metal will.